I'll mute it. There we go. Way to start off the show. Start off the show, mute it. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this Week 12 edition of the Fantasy Authority Game Day Show. Hope you're all having a fantastic Sunday so far, and hope you all had an awesome Thanksgiving week. Kent Wyrock joining the show. What's up, Kent?
Hey, what is up, Anthony? How are we doing today?
Dude, awesome day so far. Although I did just start the stream on mute, so, you know.
Off to a good start. I like it. I'm feeling it. Let's go.
Let's get it. Let's get it. So it's week 12, buddy. We had 3 games played on Thursday. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. How'd you enjoy the games this Thursday?
Oh, the games are great. Well, first of all, my Minnesota Vikings put those Lions back in their kennel like they belong. It was wonderful. I really enjoyed the games, except for that the Redskins-Giants game was kind of awful. But other than that, so I don't know. They were pretty fun. I mean, I got to watch a little bit. I was hanging out with family. I had 2 parties that day. It was a whole thing going on. But yeah, I hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving as well.
Oh, for sure. I hope everybody did. Interesting you say that about the Redskins Giants going into that game, going into Thursday. I was like, man, I bet you the NFL wish they could flex this game. I bet you they wish they could swap out this game.
Yeah, I mean, God, the first half was unbearable. I watched as much as I could. Like I said, I was moving around a little bit, but I had no interest in watching it. I think I went and talked to my boring uncle instead. So that's just a sign of how that game went.
Yeah, Thanksgiving was over for me at that point. I was on the way to the mall, actually, to see, what kind of deals were going on with the stores that are open now on Thanksgiving, because Black Friday is now kind of leaked into the entire month, essentially. So I didn't even really get to watch it, and I didn't really care at that point. Minnesota-Detroit was really good. I thought the Dallas game was okay, and then Dallas just kind of lost control. As Jim alludes to in the chat, he said watching Dallas get stomped was the Thanksgiving Day highlight.
Oh, man, yeah.
Oh, man. So, yeah, San Diego, let me tell you, I picked up San Diego's defense in one league, right? But with how hectic it is, it's Thanksgiving, so many things going on, I didn't put them in. I completely forgot to put them in. I left Detroit in, and Detroit got me like 8 points, which, given the circumstances, losing 30-23, 8 points is a pretty nice reward. But, the Chargers defense had 20. So you are muted there, buddy.
Yes, I am muted. Yeah, I was fully a believer of starting the San Diego defense again. I had them in like 5 leagues, and I'm really glad I did. I also grabbed Phillip Rivers as a streamer, but I might hold on to Phillip Rivers for the rest of the year. Now he's starting to heat up and connect with Keenan Allen like he so should have been all season. But, as long as it comes now near the end when you need it most, that's fine with me.
How about Evan Ingram, bro? 2 straight games of less than 5 points. He scored double digits the previous 4 games. So I bet you Ingram fans and Ingram owners are kind of like, dude, wrong time to be hitting a slump here.
Yeah, it's frustrating. He was so key for just being like that consistent 4 to 5 catch kind of guy. In PPR leagues, he was really helping out a lot of teams. And now, that whole offense is struggling like they had been previously. But, actually the emergence of Orleans Darkwa kind of shifted the game a little bit. They kind of used Ingram as a run through the air type of receiver so they could, move the chains and keep their offense going as much as possible, which frankly isn't very much. And also those last couple weeks before his slump, I know he was getting a few touchdowns that was kind of helping out his lower production as well. So, it's been kind of a downward trend. It's you could say rookie wall if you want. I don't know if that really applies to tight ends. It might. I mean, he's gotten a lot of work this year, so he could be hitting a little bit of a wall there. So it's something to monitor going forward. And, the tight end position this year's just been just terrible. And of course, a guy like him emerges and you're just like, yes, thank you, fantasy gods. You sent me a rookie tight end. They normally don't do anything, but Ingram is the guy, and he's been great. I'm going to start him all year, and then, oops, oh, wait, he's a tight end. So he's bound to be terrible eventually. So that's just the way it goes. I don't know what else to say about him.
Like finally, a rookie tight end's gonna break the mold. Oh shit. Well, for 4 weeks he did. You know what though? Hunter Henry did it for 4 weeks last year too. So it seems like the rookie tight ends have themselves a 4 week uh, high priority period or high volume period, and then they just kind of fall off the wagon there. What's up, Kai? Kai in the chat. How you doing, man? Hope your Thanksgiving was awesome. Hope your fantasy week is awesome too. I know I had a good start this week. I had Keenan Allen, Stephon Diggs both going. So good. Keenan Allen, bro, back-to-back weeks. Woo! He's back.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Actually, I had one league, a PPR league, where I started after the Thursday games. I had 74 points. So that is a wonderful start. I had Stafford, Diggs, Marvin Jones, and then San Diego D. So that was a real nice start. Nice to get that point base going forward here. And that's a league where I really needed to get to the playoffs too.
Yeah, when you come out of a Thursday night game with a receiver scoring, I mean, if it's full PPR, he scored over 30, and halves he scored 28 for me, and then even in standard leagues he scored probably around 20 points. So I feel like coming out of Thursday with one receiver scoring that much makes you feel pretty good. Going into the rest of the weekend here.
So Jim jumped in here, says, sorry to cut you off. Jim, he's saying Howard is doing okay for a rookie. And he really is, honestly, compared to like the normal baseline. Problem is he's having some kind of like hot and cold weeks. He had, the 2-touchdown outing against Buffalo. That was really nice. But here and there, he's been picking up some touchdowns. But unfortunately, in between, he has like these 2-target, 1-reception, 10-yard type of outings. And you don't like relying on a tight end that is capable of that. If you put up a dud, it can ruin your week, frankly. And, tight end position is probably the place where it's most acceptable to have a dud spot because, frankly, anyone could pull it any week. So, it's not something you like, but I mean, it's promising going forward. I think Brate's just on another 1 year more year. I think he's a free agent at the end of this year, if I'm not mistaken. So OJ Howard could be definitely a guy I'm watching going forward. I just don't know if I'd be willing to start him at all this year anywhere.
Yeah, it's tough. I do have a guy in one league starting him out of necessity. I forget who his other tight end is, but he had a tight end who he kind of lost, and then he's been playing tight end roulette since then, trying to get some guy who's going to score consistent points. But as we know, nobody's really scoring consistent points this year at the tight end position unless your name's Zach Ertz. But even he has had an injury the past week or so, so he's been off too. Oh God, Kevin Steele says Josh Gordon week is upon us already. I thought it was.
No, it'll be next week. Although he is, they did already say that he's gonna play though, so that's at least like a good sign that the Browns aren't gonna randomly Browns it up and say, oh no, he's inactive. Actually, we don't like him at all. So, I mean, that's a good sign. I'm hesitantly optimistic. It's always good to see a talented player come back, but. Josh Gordon. Yeah, we won't be able to shut up Kevin on the pod. I don't even know if I want to do the pod next week because it's honestly it's just gonna be Josh Gordon.
I know, Josh Gordon all the time. 24/7 of a Cleveland Browns player, an 0-11 teams player.
I mean, you could argue game script, I guess, if you want.
I guess so. Hey, somebody else comes back this week, though, and I have him rolling out. And that's Greg Olsen. Speaking of that tight end position, Greg Olsen, Carolina Panthers versus New York Jets. Last I saw, he is active. He's ready to go. He is back. So I'm not entirely sure what to expect. I mean, they traded away Kelvin Benjamin, right? And then Curtis Samuel, the rookie receiver, goes on IR. So really all they have is Devin Funchess, Ed Dixon, who was filling in for Olsen, and then Russell Shepard. So I'm expecting big things from Olsen right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, so the coaching staff at least came out and said that he was probably going to get around 50% of snaps this week. Just kind of ease him back in, make sure he's fine coming off the injury. So that being said, I don't see why every single one of those snaps won't be a route, him running routes, because frankly, you don't take an injured player who was out for a couple weeks and throw him right back into block again. That's how you get re-injuries. So if he's on the field, he's going to be running routes and getting targets, I would imagine. So I I would start him this week still. It's Greg Olsen, and you're right. The targets are going to be there for someone, and Funches has been doing pretty great, but Greg Olsen is definitely Cam's go-to since he started playing there. So I fully believe that, Greg Olsen can jump right back in and be totally fine this week. So I'm starting him.
Oh, me too, for sure. I had another question dialed up and I completely forgot what it was. So good for me. Oh man, I just saw this Miami Dolphins hype video that they tweeted out. Like, I am not getting hyped for Miami versus New England. I don't know about other Dolphins fans, but there's no way I'm hyped for this game today. Okay,
How can you not be? Your team has been looking super great recently.
they're awful, absolutely awful. Speaking of which, Adam Cahill, welcome back, buddy. He says this week is Smash Kenny Stills week. They're also talking DFS though, so you guys have your own damn DFS show.
Actually, it looks like Than, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correct, but Than is questioning if this is the week to roll out D.D. Westbrook. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, I call him TN because I don't know how to pronounce his name, and he's never seemed bothered by it, so I just keep rolling with it.
TN, okay.
I like Didi. I think Didi could be a really good player. Rolling out with him though already. Oh man, who does Jacksonville play this week? Jacksonville against the Cardinals. I guess this is as good a time as any.
Yeah, the Cardinals are giving up quite a bit of yards to receivers, and touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. So it's interesting. Allen Hurns is out this week, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, who is Blake Bortles going to throw the ball to? And with Leonard Fournette kind of still with that lingering injury, they're not going to be able to run it 20 plus 25 times a game with Leonard Fournette. They're going to have to throw the football. Marquise Lee should be playing, but I think D.D. Westbrook is going to be more likely to replace the Allen Hurns style of role in this offense. So it's interesting. I don't know if I'm confident in it. If you're absolutely desperate, it's a possibility. But if you have any better options, like maybe think of a question. If you got your roster ready for us, give us some options you want to compare D.D. against, and we can talk about those guys. But he'd be like a wide receiver 4 for me right now. I don't want to put him out there unless I see some production on the field from him first.
No, that's a good. I was about to say actually the same thing. So good call. And I was going to say, hey, if you don't have a better option, or you have a bunch of other meh options that you're just not feeling great about, then why not roll out with Didi? See what happens. Especially if you are kind of like a long shot to make the playoffs too. Like, now's the time to just go all in on whatever. I mean, why not? I see in here that there's a lot of Matt Moore and Kenny Stills love. And listen, after seeing that offense the past 4 weeks, I can't recommend any Dolphins. And I know Kenny Stills has been great. I know he has, and Parker has been bad. But gosh, it would be hard for me to recommend a Dolphins player, especially the New England's defense has been playing very well. I know they started the year really, really bad, but over the past few weeks, they've been killing it. So, gosh, I don't know what else to say about that. I'm not on the Dolphins offense this week or any other week for that matter.
I'm trying to run the RotoViz Splits app because the connection between Matt Moore and Kenny Stills has seemed to be fairly apparent. So give me 1 second. I'm going to pull this up here and see what I can find.
Sure. While you do that, TN's other options, by the way, were Sammy Watkins and Eric Decker. He's in a half-point PPR.
Oh, in that case, I play Watkins this week. There was a bit of a squeaky wheel kind of a situation. People were talking about Watkins has been getting wide open with his routes, and Goff should be looking to him more and run through his progressions a little bit better. Teams are starting to key in on the fact that Goff, can be a talented passer, is starting to just kind of go with the first option almost every single time, whether or not it's Gurley, which it most likely is. So I think Watkins might be a guy who could see an increase in production. And also with Robert Woods being out, there's targets to go around. I think Cooper Kupp will be picking up a little bit of that slack too, but Watkins stands to benefit playing I believe he has a pretty good matchup this week. Let's see, who are the Rams playing? Oh, they're playing against the Saints. So if Lattimore's out, then
out, yeah.
Lattimore's out. So absolutely, I'm fine with playing Sammy Watkins this week. I think I'd put him in over those two guys, even though Decker might be an okay matchup, but I trust Corey Davis more in Rashard Matthews being out this week, and then probably it's going to be Delaney Walker picking up slack as well. But Decker will probably just stay kind of similar to how he was previously, in my opinion.
Decker's been my biggest disappointment this year. I was so pumped for him. I thought he was really going to click this year.
Okay, so real quick on Kenny Stills. He has played 7 games with Matt Moore. His average PPR points is 18.5.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they had that good of a connection.
He has had 4.57 receptions per game. He averages a touchdown per game, and then approximately 80 yards, 79.3 yards. So he does have a Matt Moore connection. So I'd say that's something to feast on in DFS more so than actually rostering him in a redraft league. But definitely something to keep an eye on if you need a big play this week and you're like a massive underdog. That could be an option for you if you need to swing to the waiver wire and grab someone real quick.
Yeah, McRaven, Martin Cole, McRaven 747. He's part of our listener league last year and again this year. He has 2 questions: Big Ben or Alex Smith. But I think we should answer the receiver question first, since we were just talking about it. It's Watkins, Marquise Lee, or Kenny Stills. Martin, you just heard the splits for Kenny Stills when he plays with Matt Moore. Typically very, very good. So
now this one, he did say non-PPR, so we're talking standard. In that case, Marquise Lee is instantly dropped from this question. I'll have to check. I don't think he has a high touchdown count this year. He's been more of a PPR guy. Watkins, I think, has the potential, but like I said, the number I just said was Stills. He averages a touchdown per game. So in standard, you chase those touchdowns, and I think I'm going to go with Stills over Watkins. I'm going to be a little bold this week.
I agree. I'm going to go with Stills over Watkins as well. I'm also going to go with Big Ben over Alex Smith. Not that the Buffalo defense has been that great as of late. They have not. But Alex Smith has not been that great either. But the one downside I could see to this is that if the Steelers don't really need to throw, which it could very quickly turn into that sort of situation with Brett Hundley still quarterback in the Packers, they're not scoring points. If Pittsburgh goes up 21-0, they're probably not throwing it the rest of the game. So I hope Ben got all 3 of those touchdowns for you.
Yeah. I think I still go with Big Ben. That Packers, I can't even say defense. It's the entire team now. It's just been completely anemic. So you're right. It could turn into a running game, but even so, I think they're going to pass enough to make it worth it. I mean, Antonio Brown is the guy they go to in almost every single situation, winning or losing. So passing is almost always on the table with this team. So I agree with you. I go with Big Ben.
I tell you, I hope they never turn those screen passes into a running play instead of a passing play, because then quarterbacks are going to lose a hell of a lot of points, especially the Tom Brady's and Big Bens of the world.
Yeah.
That would be awful for fantasy purposes, NFL. Are you listening? Sorry. I think Jim mentioned this before. Sorry if we missed it, Jim. He needs a Philly defense or Jacksonville defense this week. It looks like Jacksonville's going head-to-head with the Cardinals, like we mentioned before.
Jacksonville.
Against Chicago, though, and at home.
I lock in Jacksonville. This defense is just too good. I think even with Jalen Ramsey questionable, every single piece of this defense is good enough. I mean, the backup cornerback is Boye. So you have a just as good cornerback waiting in the wings. I'm not worried at all. I think Jacksonville's just a perfectly fine play. And I think Jalen Ramsey might even be playing. I haven't seen any updates on him recently, so I can check on that if you want to talk for a second.
Yeah, I mean, you could have the 1 and 2 defenses right there with Philly and Jacksonville this week. Philly going against a rookie quarterback at home, and then Jacksonville against Arizona, who's playing Blaine Gabbert. I think they're playing this week. Is Stanton's out? I don't know which quarterback they're playing. It doesn't matter. Drew Stanton or Blaine Gabbert, doesn't really matter. So Jacksonville's defense has been tops all year, though, so I'd probably stick with them. Although I'm really, really curious about Philly this week.
So Jalen Ramsey is playing. He had a hand injury, but he's scheduled to play right now. And keep in mind, it was Blaine Gabbert looked good last week against the Texans, who really don't have that good of a secondary. I think he's going to be exposed against Jacksonville. So I'm Ready and willing to start those Jaguars once again.
Man, he's from Mizzou. Watch out. Kev's going to get you. Jim has other questions too here. Big Ben or Russell Wilson? A lot of Big Ben questions this week given his performance last week. Russell Wilson's going against the 49ers, but in San Fran, usually a pretty tight game there.
I tweeted something a while back this season that I'll constantly like unretweet and keep retweeting because it always stays true. Russell Wilson is the leading running back on the Seattle Seahawks right now. So I will start Russell Wilson every week over every quarterback, no matter what matchup. It does not matter. This guy is, I think he's still number one right now in points. Yeah, I don't know how you don't start him because he makes plays out of seemingly nothing. Like when you saw that one play, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, when he like scrambled out and dodged 2 tackles and then hit Baldwin on the side, who ran it for another like 30 yards. He just does that, man, and it's unexplainable. There's no analytics that show how Russell Wilson does what he does. He's just that guy who has an insane pocket presence and rolling out presence, and he knows where he is and he knows where his receivers is, and he's a really, really talented quarterback, and he can run the ball and he gets rushing touchdowns. Start him. 100% Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that's amazing to me. So given the year that Carson Wentz is having and Tom Brady is having, and Alex Smith before, but he's kind of faded a little bit. Russell Wilson is the QB1 on the season right now. So I don't think you can bench the QB1 there, Jim. I think you're going with him, buddy. He said he was just asking the questions for attention. It's funny.
I mean, it's fair. I mean, Big Ben has a good matchup, and he's the type of QB that's known to like explode for 40-point games every once in a while. So it's fair. If you really needed a huge week, Big Ben might be a better look. I won't commit to it, but I think Russell Wilson is a lot more likely to get you that 20-point threshold, just solid week in, week out.
This is the NFL. This is why fantasy is so hard. Like Matt Ryan has, at least in this league, 179.78 points, and Josh McCown has 178.68, which means Matt Ryan is just 1 point ahead of Josh McCown.
That's nuts. I mean, okay, so that being said, Matt Ryan is always been this type of quarterback. And Josh McCown has also always been this type of quarterback. He's just a lot older and a lot more injury prone than Matt Ryan is. So, I mean, I really don't doubt it. I like Josh McCown. In fact, I might even scoop him up for some matchups here at the end of the year. I do like him and how he's been working with his receivers there. In New York. I mean, next week he's got the Chiefs. That's a pretty prime matchup. I'd be willing to start him. Yeah.
I scooped him up for the matchup against Tampa because I needed week 10 was a bad bye week for me. I needed a quarterback. He scored 14. I was like, damn it, the 1 week. But listen, the top 5 quarterbacks is starting to round out. It's starting to come back to where it's been the past couple of years. And we're looking at Russell Wilson, Carson Wentz, Tom Brady, Kirk Cousins, Matt Stafford. Earlier in the year, the top 5 quarterback situation was looking a little peculiar. You were looking at, Deshaun Watson was up there, and Jared Goff, and Alex Smith, and your Case Keenum, and you're kind of sitting here thinking to yourself, what is happening in the fantasy universe that these guys are the top 5 quarterbacks? But anyways, we have a lot of questions coming in here, so maybe I should stop babbling and get to the questions. I'm so sorry. Jim had another one. Oh, gosh, if I could find it. It was a running back question of some sort. Oh, Jamal Williams, LeGarrette Blount, or DeAndre Washington?
I think based on workload alone, I have to go with Jamal Williams. It is 0.5 PPR. Jamal Williams has been getting some, kind of dump-off passes from Brett Hundley there in Green Bay. So, he at least will have a little bit of that PPR value to him. DeAndre Washington is stuck behind Marshawn Lynch, who the Oakland Raiders recently just said they want to give more touches. It's almost like they have the choice to do that themselves. They don't need to tell us they're going to do it. They could just do it. But and then Blunt is you're going to be gambling every week on a Philadelphia running back at this point. I mean, I'd say Jay Ajayi is the most confident start, obviously, in that backfield. So Blunt, to me, I would not ever start him probably for the rest of the season unless there is another injury there. So, like I said, workload alone, Jamal Williams. Oh, he says he needs 2 running backs. Am I reading that correctly? Number
No,
two. Oh no, number
it's a
two.
number two
Number
running
two.
back. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Jamal Williams for me then.
Oh, dude. I didn't realize Kelvin Benjamin's out this week. If any of you did not realize that yourselves, he's out. So now I have to decide between Dontrell Inman and Randall Cobb. Gross.
Yikes. Dontrell Inman though. That's my
I'm going with
choice.
Inman. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Inman. Cobb is droppable at this point. TN says Duke Johnson or CJ Anderson, the half-point PPR.
Ooh, man.
Yeah, I
I
love
mean,
Duke.
Duke. Yeah. I mean, I think recently you can tell I pay attention a lot to this dumb coach speak. I really shouldn't pay attention to, but they said that they want to get Duke the ball more because he's very talented, obviously. And Isaiah Crowell has been struggling. I mean, man, was he for a guy taken in like the third round this season? He has been just a massive letdown. I mean, everyone was so hyped. Their offensive line was good, and they've been underperforming. And Kaiser's been underperforming, so they can never run the ball. Duke Johnson, I do like his, reception floor. He should be able to get some work done. And if he gets at least like a couple more rushing attempts, he could have some really good value. So, oh man, CJ Anderson, he's not a bad running back. I'm just so afraid that the new regime here in Denver is going to switch over to Devontae Booker and try and aim more towards the future since they very clearly don't have a present. So yeah, I'm really worried about CJ Anderson. If nothing had changed in Denver, this would be CJ Anderson for me. But I'm definitely wary of the change there. I think Duke Johnson will be my pick this week.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Duke as well. As much as I don't believe Hugh Jackson ever, because he does that every single week. Oh, we should really we should get Crowell more involved, or we should get Duke more involved.
Yeah.
I've done a bad job of getting the running game going. How many times have we heard him say he's done a bad job of getting the running game? All right, Hugh, if you keep admitting to sucking at your job, you're going to get fired. So
maybe he's not that good at coaching. I don't know. I'll just throw it out there. We'll just throw it out there.
It really seems like he's not. All right. This team has a little bit of talent. The defense is 8th ranked defense in the league. Now, numbers could be skewed because teams are getting hell of good starting position with the offense giving them the ball in their own territory all the time.
Yeah. Well, I have to give Hugh a little credit because, frankly, he is in charge of both the offense and the defense. He does try and be the offensive play caller, but he's also a man who put this defense together and picked out guys for it. So he's doing good on the defensive side of the ball. He just needs to figure out the offense. I think he needs to hire an offensive coordinator because, frankly, head coaches that try and make play calls end up doing a little bit too much, and they kind of get convoluted in their duties. So I'd like to see
Adam Gase into that, please.
Yeah, no, seriously, I think it's the same way for almost every single head coach, offensive coordinator hybrid. I don't think it works as well as they think they want it to. They think that if they do that, they can keep everything in their system and do everything according to their plan and keep it all. But it never works out as well as they want it to. So I would look.
Mike McCarthy did that for one game and then took it back?
Oh, God, because don't get me started on Mike McCarthy, please. I don't want to do this today.
Hey, I have a question for you because I haven't seen anything. Is Garoppolo playing today?
No, as far as I was aware, it's going to be Beathard again. I don't know why they're refusing to play him. They might wait until like 2 or 3 games left, so a couple more weeks here. They just want to get him on the field. They don't need to start him for 6 games to know whether or not he's going to be the guy. They just need to get him on the field for 2-3 games.
I don't feel like you'd want to play him though. Like if you want to win, everybody wants to win. Like nobody punts.
Well, do you like? I mean, I brought this up either on the pod or on the Game Day show. I don't remember. The NFL doesn't have any kind of draft pick lottery system, so the worse you do, the better it is as far as getting a draft pick. So no, they don't want to win. They're racing against the Browns right now. So
but you're also playing for your job, though, especially the players and the coaches. Both got coach and the GM both got 6-year deals, right? But the players themselves, they're literally playing for their jobs at this point. I mean, half of these guys are probably going to be cut.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a sticky situation, and it's really hard to peg sometimes. From an outside perspective, what the front office wants to do kind of trickles down through the coaching and through the players then after that. So it's strange and it's hard to gauge, but frankly, I just
think about it like this. I mean, these are the most competitive people in the world in the NFL. The GMs, the coaches, the players, like maybe not all the players, but the GMs and the coaches especially, right? I mean, you're not getting these jobs if you're not ultra competitive and putting in as much as time as you can every single week. I don't see any of these guys being okay with losing. I just don't.
Well, no, that I agree, but at a certain point, the front office says, "Okay, listen, head coach, you're doing a fine job. You know, we're missing some pieces. We want to gear up for next year. We got some good draft picks. We're gonna switch gears here, and we're gonna go for next year." And if the coach right then and there said, "No, I'm gonna try and win," the front office would be like, "Okay, well, that's gonna screw up our long-term plan. You know, we're not gonna be able to do what we want in the future if you continue trying to force wins that mean nothing right now." I mean, a win only really matters if you're going towards the playoffs, in my opinion. And other than that, it's not really worth it. And it's sad to say, but that's like the economist view of playing in the NFL. You know, if you want to get better later, lose all your games. I mean, that's just unfortunately the way it is.
I was literally just gonna say maybe I'm looking at an idealistic view here, and then
Yeah, I don't know.
It's at the opposite end of the spectrum. You know, hey, we don't know. We're not in the locker room or in that office, so we're never gonna know. But we do have other questions. TN coming back with a standard question between Isaiah Crowell, CJ Anderson, and Jamal Williams. I really like Jamal still, man. And he has the best opportunity with no timeout this week, or at least timeout's doubtful. I haven't seen him officially listed as out, but doubtful's pretty much out at this point.
Yeah, I don't see, even if Montgomery plays, I don't see him getting a meaningful amount of snaps. Jamal Williams, like I said, workload is pretty much locked in. I also go with him. I talked about CJ Anderson already. And then I also talked about Crow. So, yeah, and especially looking for a touchdown, man. I mean, none of those teams. Look at the three teams we're talking about right now: the Browns, the Broncos, and the Packers. All three are just sad right now. And if you're looking for a touchdown,
you know what though, Crowell has been getting those goal line carries.
Yeah, he has.
And against Cincinnati,
I mean, that's a rough front seven. You don't want to go against the Cincinnati front seven if you can help it. So I don't know. I still lean Jamal here.
Yeah, who has the easiest front seven? I mean, Jamal's going against the Steelers front seven. That's not exactly
you're right
either. You know, and then CJ's going against the Raiders, which against
that's probably the better matchup of the three. But
like you said, what if they go with a Booker game script there?
I'm also really worried about Paxton Lynch starting, if I'm being totally honest. I mean,
could it be worse than the other two? Could it?
Yeah. I mean, we saw the Peterman show, man. I mean, you can always be worse. They saw Tyrod's performance and they said, we can't be worse than this. And Peterman said, hold my beer.
Yeah, they put that kid out there way too soon.
Oh, they did. No, don't get me wrong. That's a different situation. But Paxton,
you're right, but it could get worse. You're correct.
Yeah, we've seen limited windows of Paxton Lynch, and I've never come away too impressed. I've never seen much contrary to that either. So, I mean, you're welcome to your own opinion, but I don't think he's spectacular. So,
I haven't seen any of them.
I think he's played a little bit, just a little bit here and there, and then I think preseason mostly.
Isn't the quarterback's the position, man, where you either see a spark or you don't? Like, they don't get that spark. Man, maybe Kurt Warner is the only guy I can really think of who came back and found a spark of some sort. But, I mean, you see these guys go out there, and if they don't have some sort of confidence and some sort of consistency right away, it's more than likely they're going to be out of the league in a couple of years or just a permanent backup.
I mean, seriously, how many high-level draft picks have we seen become just journeymen, you know, traveling around from team to team and doing, you know, maybe a couple games here and there and kind of fading out and getting replaced by a rookie, and who knows, man,
right? I mean, they're making $4 to $6 million a year to
they'll get their quick paychecks and then walk away with no monkey on their back, so that's fine.
All right, so Andrew Hankins here. Welcome back to the show, man. He needs 2 flex plays. He's got Greg Olsen, Corey Davis, Cooper Kupp, Dede Westbrook, and Tyler Lockett. He gets points for returns as well here.
Points for returns. In that case, 2 flex plays. Okay.
I really like Kupp this week too. He was heavily targeted last week with Woods in the game.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna throw Cooper Kupp in there, and then, man, as much as, you know, the returns could help Tyler Lockett, But I'm going to probably say this every week until it actually happens. And then I'm going to later be like, oh, I told you so. But it's Corey Davis Smash Week. Please, finally, please give me Corey Davis. Like, I'm tired of waiting. I know this kid's good. He's going to show up. But it's finally a good matchup. We talked about it on the pod this last week. I'm holding out hope for Corey Davis. But if you subscribe to the camp where you wait until you see a player's production on your bench and then you can start him, that's fine. I would totally get behind that. In that case, I would say Cooper Kupp and Tyler Lockett would be my choices here. But my heart says Corey Davis over Tyler Lockett.
Here's the thing. Don't the Colts have that really good corner? Now, I can't remember his damn name.
Vontae Davis, but
no, they cut Davis. They have this kid who was one-on-one with Antonio Brown, and he pretty much shut down Brown. And now he's been talked about a lot since then. I can't remember his name.
No, I'm not sure.
Is it Rashawn Melvin? No, maybe not. Kai will know.
I'm not sure.
Kai's a Colts fan.
Get Kai in the chat. He'll tell us. But actually, I have seen that the Colts have been pretty stingy against wide receiver ones. So, I mean, for all intents and purposes, Corey Davis will be the wide receiver one going against the Colts, at least in terms of how they're going to game plan against the Titans. You know, he's definitely better than Eric Decker. Eric Decker's a great receiver. He's just a little past his prime by now. And then, Delaney Walker is probably the second biggest receiving threat. So,
yeah. I really like Davis, but I'm worried. It was Rashawn Melvin, by the way. I'm looking at his stats now.
Okay, nice.
He held Brown to 3 catches for 47 yards when the Colts had him specifically shadow Brown. So he played both sides of the field, shadowed the best receiver in the NFL, and held him to 3 for 47. That scares me a little. And I don't know that they're going to do that with Corey Davis because Corey Davis isn't yet on the level of Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
But that worries me a bit because Melvin has been having a fantastic year so far.
Well, honestly, I could honestly see Corey Davis getting 15 targets this week. I mean, that's definitely within the realm of possibilities because Rashard Matthews is out. So even if he has a 50% catch rate, if he pulls in 7, I mean, that's obviously a good number. If you're getting 50 targets, it's not ideal, but if you get 7 receptions, you're talking at least 70, 80 yards, possibility at a touchdown. I'm willing to bet that Corey Davis is willing to make an outstanding type of grab and toe touch play that he's been showing already in his limited window of opportunity that he can do. He makes really spectacular catches. I think he could probably burn this receiver. And Antonio Brown is absolutely number 1 receiver right now in the game. That's undeniable. But seeing him go, he did get 3 for 47 in that window. So that's at least something. It's not like he was totally locked down, but.
Yeah. No, good call. I like Corey Davis a lot. I did not realize that Rashard Matthews was out, so more lineup adjustments for me. Way to pay attention this week.
Yeah.
Holiday weeks are tough to pay attention for me. I don't know. I get so distracted.
Seriously, man. I have my 5th of 5 parties today that I'm going to, and I'm ready to be done. I think I'm done with turkey for the rest of the year, to be honest.
No more turkey.
No more turkey.
Ryan joining us in the chat. What's up, Ryan? Ryan Williams.
Hey, Ryan. Hey, Anthony. You're on the spot. You have a nickname for Ryan yet?
Oh, I don't.
An intro? Oh, man.
I gotta come up with one.
On the pod, Ryan
introduced
me, and he got real mad. Oh, not really, but he's he's so mad that he had to introduce me with the big intro, and then he didn't even have nothing for himself, and he kind of felt bad about it. But it's all good.
I had to come up with something. We haven't been on the same show in 4 weeks. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, you two are circling around each other right now. It's kind of funny.
Our schedules are kind of the exact opposite at this point. Kai says, Muscle Hamster, Ajayi, or Anderson. I don't know how you could sit Ajayi. I mean, Philadelphia has been just awesome running the ball, getting all 3 running backs involved, and that doesn't include Wendell Smallwood, so go figure on that.
Jay Ajayi.
Yeah, but Blunt, Ajayi, and Clement have all been very big parts of that Philadelphia offense.
I know last week we saw this Swiss Army knife style of running back thing where they had Corey Clement get a touchdown, and then I think wasn't it one other guy got a touchdown too? a running back?
Ajayi and Clement, I think both have.
Ajayi got one. Okay, so I think Ajayi is still the highest percent chance of getting those red zone opportunities and touchdowns. I don't think last week was really like a cookie cutter design of how their offense is going to be. I think that Jay Ajayi is going to be the guy in the red zone from now on, but it's scary to see those touchdowns get hounded like that. So I still think it's Jay Ajayi though, but.
Yeah, Kai says Ajayi had only 8 touches last week. But that's concerning for sure. He
Yeah.
seems to be making the most of these touches. That's bound to come back to bite him, I'm sure. But man, can you really start? Who are the other 2 options? Doug Martin or C.J. Anderson over him?
Doug Martin confuses me because he gets 20 carries a game and maybe like a reception or 2, but he gets like 50 yards. I mean, we got. Doug Martin has it's high year Doug Martin or low year Doug Martin, and this is low year Doug Martin. He's showing like his very limited, yardage, and frankly, there's a lot of it on the offensive line right now. But that's the situation he's in, so you got to deal with it as such. Doug Martin, he's like a lock for some points, but I haven't seen the explosion I was kind of expecting here and there. So. I don't know how you can go with him confidently.
Yeah, Kai says outside of his 71-yard run, he had 3.1 points. Kai, I'm pretty sure Martin and C.J. Anderson probably had 3.1 points combined.
Yeah, but you know what? Frankly, Ajayi could have another 71-yard run. It's not like he's now never going to have those again because he got one last week. It's when offensive lines like Philadelphia's, it's a very good offensive line, they'll create these massive holes, and all it takes for the running back is basically like one missed tackle on either like a defensive back or a linebacker, and then they get those 71-yard runs. I mean, if the offensive line is taking care of as many guys as they can, like they should be on their run blocking duties, it just takes one missed tackle, and then you can bust off a long run. So, yeah, I'm willing to bank on Ajayi. I think that his role will only continue to grow. He's very clearly the best running back there. So, yeah, I start him. One thing about Ajayi, though, I thought was funny. There was a clip last week on his 71-yard run. He probably should have had a touchdown, but he got caught, right? And one of his teammates came up to him after the play. He said, "Man, why you run so slow?" It's like busting his ass for getting caught on that run. And frankly, Ajayi's never been the top end speed type of guy. He's more of a power back. So I'm still confident. I think he's going to be better more often than he was last week, if that makes any sense.
And that's the type of running back he typically is. I know last year we're looking at those 3 200-yard games, but even look at those games. He's a guy who's going to be 3.5 or 3.0 yards per carry, just pounding it into the offensive line, and then boom, breaks a 50, 60-yarder. Like, that's him. That's Ajayi. That's what you get with him as a running back. Tavon Austin talk going on in the chat. I was laughing before because Ryan put Y-Rock in the chat.
Yeah. Tavon Austin, man. I can't believe he's one of the highest paid receivers in the game right now. That is...
Ryan and I were drinking the Kool-Aid this offseason. 2 off seasons in a row, actually, because last year he did pretty well. So then we came back this offseason, and we're drilling Ben and Kevin. We're like, yeah, Austin's going to do even better this year. He's going to be the shit.
Well, dude, he had that season where he put together like 1,000 combo yards between receiving and rushing. And if you could, presumably build on both of those, then that would have been awesome. But he just fell into the oblivion and did absolutely nothing after that. It's absurd.
Yeah, as good as who is it, McVay there in Los Angeles, as good as he's been doing, obviously he's not a fan of Tavon. They're not. Well, last year Jeff Fisher did everything in his power to get plays written up for Tavon. I don't think McVay thinks he has the same potential. So.
The only thing Tavon has is speed. I mean, that's actually the only thing. That's why they had to hand him the ball, because his catching skills are subpar. I mean, that's the reason he's used in those gadget type plays. So, I mean, he'll get the occasional end around 80-yard touchdown, but good luck betting on it.
Dude, it amazes me how well of a career and how good Teddy Ginn Jr. has had. I mean, rightfully so. The Dolphins took a beating for taking this guy 9th overall in the 2008 draft, something like that.
Yeah.
2009 draft, I don't know, one of those drafts. And he was okay for Miami. His biggest games were against Darrelle Revis, of all people. Every single time he played Revis, he had like a 60-yard touchdown. I don't know how that happens. And then he goes and does well for Carolina. He's doing well for New Orleans. I mean, this guy has turned his track speed and subpar hands into a decent career.
Yeah, well, if I could get paid to do almost nothing like he is, I'd gladly do it. So,
dude, they just figured out that stop running like what's that straight run called, and just do a post. Just or the one that slants.
Oh yeah. Post
just do like that. Flag. Yeah, the flag like every time, and that way he'll get more open.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy.
All right, let's try and crush these last few questions here. We got about.
I do 14. Have one on Twitter that I want to hit first, and then you can go ahead and roll those off. Sanu or Duke Johnson, half-point PPR?
Duke Johnson.
Dookie Duke. All right,
go for it. Lock it in. Okay, well, we got one here from Kai here real quick. This is, we can only start 3. We have, who is CD? I don't know who CD is off the top of my head.
Corey Davis?
Corey Davis. Okay, yeah, Corey Davis. Devin Funchess, Doug Baldwin, Sammy Watkins, Cooper Kupp, Amari Cooper. So we get to pick 3.
Oh, my God. Where is that question?
That is Kai, right below Ryan. So I'm going to go Cooper, Baldwin.
Oh, Cooper's playing Denver.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, switching it up. Baldwin, Kupp, Corey Davis.
It's Baldwin and Kupp for sure.
I'm going to only take one of the 2 Rams players, even though I do think Watkins has a good week. I just don't like double dipping in wide receivers.
No, I agree.
If I can.
I think it's Baldwin and Kupp for sure. Maybe Kupp gets his hands back this week because last week was probably infuriating to Kupp owners.
Yeah.
Watching him drop a touchdown and then like a 30-yard play. And I mean, it was very irritating. Hopefully he gets his hands back this week. Man, I do like Funchess, though. I do like Funchess.
Funchess, I might even I'd take Funchess over Corey Davis, possibly, as well.
I'm probably going Funchess, Baldwin, Kupp.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Yeah. I mean, Corey Davis, I want to be awesome, and I hope he does awesome, but Funchess has actually been awesome, so I kind of want to lean with him.
Oh, and look, and that is exactly what Stepney said as well, Mike. So he said Kupp, Baldwin, Funchess as well, so we got some support there.
Listen, if Mike says it, then it's right. That's how it works.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Kai says he'd start Pharaoh Cooper before he started Tavon.
Woof. Yikes.
Wow. Ryan's playing Josh Reynolds in DFS today. I will honestly tell you I have no idea who Josh Reynolds is. True story.
I'm going to say it's like a wide receiver for the Giants or something. Who's he playing for?
Maybe for
the Rams. He's on the Rams.
I've been talking about the Rams. So.
Oh, wait, the Giants already played. I'm dumb. Okay. Ignore me.
So Bruce Ellington or Marlon Mack?
Ooh.
It's a flex play for
PPR.
It's a PPR. Bruce Ellington or Marlon Mack. Oh my gosh, awful.
I think I'm gonna go Bruce Ellington. Honestly, he had not a bad week last week, or maybe I'm thinking of the week before. But I think Will Fuller's still not playing, if I'm not mistaken. So as long as Will Fuller's out, I'm like semi okay with starting Bruce Ellington. But Marlon Mack, man, I wish they would just like say, okay, we're done with the season. Let's start Marlon Mack and just let Gore rest up and be ready for his Hall of Fame walk. So
it does say that Fuller is out Monday night. So
Fuller's out. I could get behind Bruce Ellington here, especially if you're going for like maybe like a bigger play. Like you could possibly see like a 2 touchdown outing from Ellington randomly. I mean, I'm not talking like bank on it, but he's definitely got some speed. So I could get behind Bruce Ellington.
Is it just me, or was Bruce Ellington a running back for San Francisco?
No, Bruce Ellington?
I keep thinking this guy is a running back for some reason. I'm not sure. He did have 6 rushes for San Francisco, but he also had 6 receptions, so it's anybody's guess.
Maybe he was. Maybe he's converted, yeah.
I have no idea. All right. I could get behind. I don't want to start Marlon Mack. I could tell you that.
Wait, why is Ryan saying to ignore me? What did I say that upset Ryan here?
Oh, I don't know.
Something about maybe it was something about Tavon Austin.
Oh, maybe. They
Ryan
said
did say he liked Bruce though. Hopkins draws a little bit of a tougher matchup there though.
they said Olsen should play. I don't think Olsen coming back hurts Funches. I think it helps Funches. Takes the pressure off of them. They're less likely to double team when they got to account for Olsen. I think Olsen helps Funches, if anything.
I mean, you still have. I mean, there's still only 3 receiving options really. It's Funchess, Olsen, and then Christian McCaffrey. So
Yeah.
I mean, those are like the 3 top ones. Anyone else is just going to kind of get a couple here and there. But
Russell Shepard can't catch. I mean,
yeah, I don't really care about Russell Shepard really that much.
Did you watch that game? I think it was last week.
I didn't get to that one.
So Shepard and Curtis Samuel, both of them. I mean, Cam could do nothing but laugh and smile because perfect throws in between coverage. These guys couldn't catch a cold, bro. Shepard and Samuel both. Neither of them could catch. He's like, I'm just going to keep throwing to Funches then because these guys can't catch shit.
Kai said that Ryan was mad that I didn't know what team Josh Reynolds played for, which was the Rams. So that's why he's mad at me.
I mean, but I don't think anybody does, Ryan. I think you're maybe alone in that.
Josh Reynolds sounds like a guy who works in the accounting firm. So
I think he does.
Yeah, he might. He has nerd glasses on. He pushes them up before every snap.
Yeah, he's on the practice squad, actually. He just he works in the accounting firm.
Someone gave me gear, and I had to get on the field. I don't really know.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. The ball came at me real fast, Coach. Hit me right in the face.
I can't wait for Ryan to rip me on that one for later this week. Or rip both of us, I guess.
Probably. That's okay. If he shows up. Let's see if he shows up. Also, Kent said, just ignore me. Just ignore Ryan. You said that's right. Ryan's all in on the Rams this week. He is. Rams against the Saints. I don't know how you can be all in on. That's a tough matchup, man. That's a good game. That's a really good game.
Yeah, that one's going to be interesting for sure.
I wish that was the Thursday night game.
Yeah, I mean,
but then I would have missed it. So
I'm actually really excited for tonight's game, the Eagles and the Seahawks. That's going to be an awesome game. I have hockey every Sunday night, so I don't really get to watch like about half of it, but I'm going to watch as much as I can and then listen to the rest on the radio.
I think Eagles and Seahawks is next week, man. You on the wrong week?
I am on the wrong week.
Yeah.
Dang it!
Tonight's the bad game. You should go to hockey.
Thank you, everyone. Tonight. I'm going to just leave now. See you later.
You should go to hockey tonight because tonight's Packers Steelers. You don't want to watch that one. Kent just left. Kent's gone, so I guess I'll take over.
God. I scrolled down to look at a matchup for someone, and I left it there like a dingus. So.
These night matchups suck this week. Packers Steelers, Texans, Ravens. Ugh, I don't want to watch either of them.
Yeah, those are bad. In fact, there's really not that many awesome matchups. Saints and Rams will be good.
Yeah, Saints and Rams is the only one I'm excited about. 49ers Seahawks could be good, but they're starting Beathard instead of Garoppolo, so it won't be.
God, I hope we get to see Garoppolo soon. Everyone's just like on bated breath to find out if he's actually good or not, or if he was only a product of the Belichick system. We're all just waiting here.
What if this turns into one of those situations where they never play him a down and then cut him?
Well, I know that seems why. I mean,
crazy.
There's like no reason to do that. You gave up. You basically just gave the Patriots a draft pick for free.
Well, they don't have to cut him, right? Because his contract's over. But let's just say they don't play him a down, and then they don't franchise him. They don't get a contract done, and he goes to another team. It seems crazy. It seems impossible, but we've seen it happen before. So
I mean, the only way that could happen is Jimmy would have to show up and just start throwing ducks and missing handoffs and fumbling. I mean, he would have to be like the worst quarterback ever, honestly, for that to happen.
Ryan Leaf this shit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know how you could do that. I mean, giving up draft capital to one of the best teams in the league for free for no reason other than to gamble on a quarterback, which teams seem to be so eager to do. This season has been kind of an interesting one with starting guys. We're going to see Paxton Lynch now. We saw Peterman there. We saw numerous quarterbacks for the Cleveland Browns. These teams are just like scrambling to find a starting quarterback, and I think they need to be a little bit more patient, honestly. I mean, just develop a system that works for them early, slowly expand it, give them more routes, more options, more, audible designs, stuff like that. Slowly build up an offense around them, because you can honestly stick to if you have an anywhere decent defense, stick to the run game, stick with your defense, you'll be fine. I mean, you won't have like awesome, crazy electric games, like high scoring, but you'll be fine. You'll probably get, a few wins on the season. But these teams, they try and get these guys out there and just start slinging the ball and being the next, like, Peyton Manning or Aaron Rodgers or someone. Like, they want just the top 5 perennial guy out of nowhere. They just want him to all of a sudden be good. And I don't know what makes them think that would happen if they're not going to choose to develop them, in a league that is now has evolving defenses. I think defenses over the last couple of years have really like stepped up their game. We had I think it was like the lowest scoring halfway through the year in a while this season, if I'm not mistaken. I saw that on Twitter, I believe, but we have just see defenses lock down quarterbacks in a way that is not been common in the last few years. The quarterback evolved before the defense did. So then we saw a lot of passing, and this became a passing league. And now that the defense is catching up, we're going to probably see a little bit of a shift back to either like the 50-50 run pass, or maybe even a little bit more running. I mean, looking at teams like, my team, like the Vikings and, even the Jaguars, they've gone back to that real basic offense, but it just works so well. And I think more teams should do that and allow time for their quarterbacks to develop.
But then you also get the ones who wait too long and end up in quarterback purgatory. And I feel like that happened. Right. And then it happened with Chicago with Jay Cutler, right? They were stuck with this guy who was a subpar quarterback, but he's good enough not to cut, right? And then same thing with Jacksonville. It's stuck with Blake Bortles. He's good enough not to cut, but is he going to get you anywhere? I feel like the Miami has that situation with Tannehill. I love Tannehill. I have his jersey. I'm really rooting for the guy, but I think they're stuck in quarterback purgatory with him. It may be that situation with Jameis Winston in Tampa Bay. Like, you get these quarterbacks who are in their 4th or 5th year, and they've shown enough talent to keep the front office interested and keep them confident, but they just don't go anywhere. You keep putting pieces around them, and you don't get any better. And then it's tough. I see why these GMs and these coaches get paid as much as they do.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, since we only got like a minute or two, there's a couple last minute questions here. It looks like we have Texans or Rams defense, I believe. Rams. I'm going to go with Rams as well. And then also we have McKissick or Burkhead, Rex Burkhead, PPR. That one, I think I'm going to go McKissick, actually. Rex Burkhead fumbled last week, and Bill Belichick is not a fan of fumbles. I think Deion Lewis could bear to take most of the work, and then James White could fill in just as easily as Rex Burkhead on passing downs. So
they're playing Miami. All 4 running backs are going to have 100 yards and a touchdown. So
yeah, I mean, that's very possible. Oh, Gilsey's inactive again. How crazy is that?
That's nuts. That's just the Patriots way, man. I go with McKissick though.
I'm going to go McKissick. I'm going to again. I think that's kind of bold.
And I know that the Rams versus the Saints is tough, especially when the Texans are playing in Baltimore. Baltimore's offense hasn't been that great, but Rams defense finds a way to score, man, against everybody, even against Minnesota or last week, which it wasn't a great week, but
Jim said, I encourage you to rethink your strategy if you're considering a Seattle running back. Dude, I know. I get it. Trust me. I talked about it on the pod. I was like, I can't believe that it's coming to this. But desperation is just a cruel mistress. And
McKissick's a receiver anyways.
McKissick, I mean, if you're in PPR, that's exactly what you're looking for, is passing, catching passes. So I like him for that reason alone.
I mean, you're looking at the 2 worst backfields to count on in the entire league with the Patriots and the Seahawks right now. It's devil's advocate, or what is it? Not devil's advocate.
I
don't know.
Two-sided blade. I don't know. Lesser two evils.
There we go. We're smart. It's 1 p.m. Eastern time, so that means it's kickoff time, guys. Have a fantastic day. Hope you all win your weeks this week and get that push towards the playoffs. Only a couple weeks left. This is week 12, so 1-2 more weeks after this week to get your team playoff bound. So best of luck this week, fellas. Thank you all so much for joining us once again. I'm Anthony Pinzone. That's Kent Wyrock. Join us on Thursday morning for the Fantasy Authority podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, or your podcasting software of choice. Until next time, Take it easy, everyone.
Good luck.